It is amazing how fast a day can get away from you. I sat down this morning and I made plans for today to be the day that I hit June's writing goal. The problem with that is that it is July 16th. So needless to say, my writing didn't go very well for the first half of the month. I've only added about 5,000 words to my manuscript. Definitely nowhere near where I wanted to be. I am making progress, it's just going really slow, and when I sat down and tried to figure out why it felt like the story was dragging, it's because it really was dragging. So I'm actually going to back up and I'm going to throw away about 1,500 words that I had written. A lot of people wouldn't do this until they get to the editing stage, but I am a very linear writer. I have to have things going forward smoothly in a straight line, and if I reach a place where I'm stuck, I do a lot better to just back up and throw things away and rewrite stuff instead of trying to fix it later. So the problem that I ran into was that when I was writing, I was bored of what I was writing, and if I'm bored writing it, then somebody who is reading it is going to be bored. I sort of backed myself into a corner because the main characters are split up right now. There's one character by himself, and then the team is off doing something else. And while what is happening to the character who is alone is very tense, it is not something that I can just keep dragging out, or it becomes very repetitive and it gets very dull to write. And I can't accelerate his part of the story because that would mean hitting his kind of dark night of the soul moment like way too early. I'm not even a quarter of the way through the book yet. And that's just far too soon for him to hit this point of no return where everything is hopeless. When I wrote the outline, my index cards have that happening about halfway through the story, and I really need it to be there. The problem was that the stuff that was happening with the other characters was just really boring. So the obvious solution to this was to look back over my cards and realize that I had a large section of the beginning of the book is just them traveling, and traveling is very hard to write in any way that makes it interesting. It's a very common problem in fantasy books. So the best solution in this case is just, well, make something a lot more exciting happen. So I'm giving them a very small detour. Originally, they were supposed to just travel straight to this one destination, and instead they're veering off a little bit, and instead of going in a straight line, they're kind of doing a little arc. So they'll hit this city first, where things go horribly wrong, but also become very exciting, and then they'll dip down to that city. And I think that'll really help get things going again. So by the end of today, I should hit 25,000 words total on this book, which is going to be about a quarter of what I anticipate the total length is going to be. Once I get this first quarter done, I will also send it to my editor so that she can get started. She can take her time going through it and figuring out what needs to be tightened up or fixed now that I've kind of figured out that slow part. Since I have written so many books already and I am a very heavy outliner, it's easy for me to give her the first quarter of something while I finish the second quarter, and it gives her a lot more time to work because none of the major points are going to change. And this lets me accelerate things for publishing a little bit. My goal for July had been to get to 40,000 words total. I don't think I'm going to reach that. I think if I can get to maybe 35, I'll consider that a victory. I might take a look at my planner and kind of revise that goal. I really need to start writing my goals in pencil in case I need to take some of them out. Pen just feels a lot more like I'm really committed to it, but I do think it is okay for me to dial it down a bit to 35,000, especially since, August is right around the corner at this point, and my daughter goes back to school the second week of August. And then I'll be back to writing full-time. I have everything set up so that writing can be my main focus. I'll be spending all day, every day writing for pretty much the whole month of August. And I should be able to have the book fully written by the end of September. That means I should be able to finish all edits in October, but I don't think the book is going to come out until late November or December. My cover artist is supposed to have the cover done in October, and I am so excited about the sketches that she's sent me to have me pick like character outfit and the lighting and all that, and it's just, I'm so excited. It looks so good. But yeah, I probably won't have a chance to sit down and write until after dinner. My husband always takes over for around an hour, sometimes like an hour and 20 minutes, so that I can have some time to myself in the evening. And that's usually like my unwind time, when I would play a video game, or I would do some reading or work on some artwork. But tonight it's going to be my writing time. It unfortunately is really the only time that I can squeeze it in while trying to ensure that my daughter has a nice full summer, and she asked to swim after we run errands. I need to go to the post office to drop off some signed copies of The Witch and the Worm, and then I'm going to pop in by a print shop to see if they can give me a quote for some bookmarks. The cost of shipping keeps going up, which makes it harder and harder to get like small runs of bookmarks for specific titles. And this new print shop just opened, so I'm hoping that they'll be willing to do just like really tiny runs for me, because I don't probably need to have 250 to 500 bookmarks for a book like The Witch and the Worm. I was thinking, you know, maybe like 30 to 50, but we'll see what they say. I'm going to drag her along for that expedition, and then we are going to hop in our little pool, and hopefully I will have a fruitful writing night. My hair's wet because I just got out of the shower. It's my thinking place whenever I'm stuck in my books. But I was able to finish the chapter I was stuck on last night, except for the very last scene. And after having my thinking time, I know how I'm going to wrap that up, and it is going to spare me from having to write another action scene. I know that those are great sometimes in fantasy books, but at this point I've had, I think, 5 or 6 different action scenes, and it's only the first 25,000 words of the book, so I think skipping one will be okay. I'm really excited to move on from there. That's going to let me really push the story forward, and I can progress into the next part, which is going to be a little bit slower, but I think after having that much action early on, I will probably be okay to have things be a little bit more docile. If I can manage to write 1,000 words a day for the rest of the month and get any extra at all on any of those days, then I should be able to hit 40,000 words total on the book after all. And that would be awesome, because I'm pretty sure I would be able to write 60K next month, which that would mean I could finish it by the end of August. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not going to be hoping for that or dreaming for that or even aiming for it remotely, but it would be really cool to see it happen. So now I get to go back to one of my favorite characters. I think this chapter that I write next is going to go pretty smoothly, and then I will have the first chunk ready to send to my editor so that she can get started. I just got a message from the printer that I went and visited yesterday, and they said that my bookmarks for The Witch and the Worm are ready to pick up, so I'm going to go get those. And once again, I will be writing this evening. I stayed up way too late last night writing, but it went really well. I was able to complete chapter 10, so the book is now at 27,000 words, so it is a quarter done. I have the first quarter sent off to my editor. She's excited, I'm excited, and I got the bookmarks back from the local printer. Isn't that beautiful? It turned out so well. It's nice and shiny, and the print quality is really nice on them. I'm so happy. It's really nice to be able to get something like that made locally, and they were so fast. They got it done in one day. Called me back the next day and they're like, hey, come pick it up. So I'm really excited. It's really great to be able to, you know, get like a proof of something on the spot and then get it made within 24 hours and I can just pick it up. I don't have to wait for shipping. And I have had such terrible luck with shipping damaging stuff lately. I've had so many books come in damaged. I ordered a box full of The Witch and the Worm as hardcovers. People had pre-ordered them directly from me. They wanted signed books, and more than a quarter of the books in the box were damaged to the point that I did not feel they could be sent to readers. So the printer is replacing those books, but I don't know when they're going to be here, so some of the orders are running late, and that's a little bit disheartening, but at least I am being able to make good progress on my writing. I'm really happy with how the scene I was working on turned out. I ended up not having to scrap as much as I thought I was going to. I was able to take one of the pieces that I had written and kind of repurpose it into a slightly different scene in chapter 10. So I am officially moving on to the second quarter of the book tonight. It's always hard for me to get back into writing at first after I've had a little bit of time off, and I was worried that after not really doing a lot of writing through June or July that I was going to have a really hard time getting back into this, especially because the only time that I can write is at night. And, you know, I have so many health issues that by the time night gets here, it's 9 p.m., my daughter is in bed, I'm exhausted. And that's really like the worst possible time for me to be sitting down and trying to write, because I'll be tired, I'll be having body aches, headaches, all kinds of horrible fatigue. And then of course like brain fog and just the nature of sitting there and I'm supposed to be working and I want to go to bed. So for the past few nights to have gone really well for writing, I'm feeling very encouraged. I'm still sort of tentatively aiming for 35,000 words for my goal this month instead of 40,000. 40,000 definitely feels achievable given how well things have gone the past couple of nights. But a couple nights before that, I wasn't able to get anything at all because I wasn't feeling well. I'm looking forward to getting back into a regular schedule and being able to write first thing in the morning when I am at my best. Those are the days where I can typically get higher word counts. You know, I usually aim for around 2,500 a day. But if I'm feeling good and it's coming well, then I can get up to, 4,000 or more in a morning session, and then do all the housework and everything afternoon. This year is going to be a little bit different. School starts an hour earlier, so that's going to take some adjustment, but I'm hopeful. I got through a couple issues. I had to pause at one point last night to talk something through with my husband because I had kind of written myself into a corner and I needed a character to have information that was really difficult to get to him, but we figured it out. And since we just hit that spot where the book is a quarter of the way done, I feel like that's a good spot to give an update on how it's going. I'm hoping that within the next few days I might get an update from my cover artist, but I never really know what her schedule is like, so it might be a bit before we get to that. I've been keeping up with my goal of trying to do some drawing every month. I've been doing a lot of sketches and practicing. I'm trying to reteach myself to draw in like an anime or manga style. That was really fun when I was young. And as I spend more time doing like digital paintings and things, I feel a lot more pressure to perform at a quality that I can't always keep up with. So I thought, maybe if I go back to also drawing sometimes in a more simple style and just do like basic cell shading and stuff like that, maybe that would help reinstate some of the fun that was supposed to come with the art. I finally took the time to try to do a drawing of 𝗍𝗃 in my new anime style. And I was really happy with the sketch, but I felt like it lost all the personality after I put the color on it. I took a photo of it like with my iPad and inked it digitally and did cell shading and everything, and I'm not really crazy about how that came out. Lately I've been feeling like traditional media comes a lot more easily. It feels a lot more loose and relaxed. So I'm thinking about digging out the alcohol markers that my sister had given me a long time ago when she upgraded her collection. I never really got a chance to use them, so I might pop those open and see if they're any good anymore, and maybe I'll take up using those a little bit too, because you know, that would just be a fun, refreshing thing to do on the side, and it's always nice to sketch out my characters, especially as they are growing and changing with the story. I've had a couple of people ask questions, so I'm going to be making some videos soon to talk about formatting my books and doing one that is more focused on how I line up my character arcs and character development with the way that I plot my books using index cards. And conveniently, I also plot out my character arcs on index cards, so hopefully that'll be something useful, but that'll fit in at some point in the next couple of weeks. Still trying to keep things sort of loose and fun, but I also definitely want my writing to be a priority. I don't want anything to get in the way of my ideal writing time, so lately when I've had the energy in the evening that I can sit down and I can write, I've been trying to focus on that. So far it's going okay. I'm hoping that I can sort of build up some momentum going through the end of July and into August. It'll just be a lot easier for me to kind of hit the ground running. I am going to take 2 days off in a row right after my daughter starts school. The first day that she is in school, I will need that day to do paperwork and catch up last minute things, get any last minute supplies that she needs for her classes. And then the day after that is our wedding anniversary. My husband almost always takes that day off so that he can spend it with me, and we'll be wanting to get out and do some special things too. I might see if I can do at least like a little tiny bit of writing those days just so I don't lose my streak, but I'm hopeful I can keep it up. And who knows, maybe I'll hit that 40,000 word mark at the end of July after all. I guess we'll find out, but for right now, no pressure. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.